everybody. I'm John Pomeroy, and the lesson I'm going to be covering today is about exaggeration and appeal, two very important principles of animation. Exaggeration being how we take actions in animation and we push them way beyond what you normally see in reality. And then appeal is talking about anything that's attractive or unique about a character's design. So what I like to do, starting with exaggeration first, is I would like to take the test that I did of Ben. Remember in lesson Squash and Stretch, I did a exercise, a little drawing demo of him doing a take. Well, I want to take this same animation, these same drawings, and see if I can push it, if I can exaggerate the action, and then we'll shoot it and compare it with the original that I did for the Squash and Stretch lesson. So here are the extremes that I did of Ben in the lesson for Squash and Stretch. They start with him in that pose, and then he looks off camera and then is surprised. He does an anticipation and then a huge take and then a recovery into a smiling pose. I think I can make this stronger. I'm going to try to exaggerate this particular drawing. I think I'll leave this one as is, but I would like to see if I can make this a little wilder and zanier, bordering on even goofy. I'm going to stretch his head even more. And I think the idea behind this is how to exaggerate a surprise. That's the main thing. I would stretch the nose a little bit more. I'm going to stretch the mouth quite a bit. Maybe even show the teeth. Now this is like really, really pushing it. You shade the inside of his mouth. So I've got the tongue sticking out. I've got the eyes really stretching a lot wider than before. The eyebrows are way up here with wrinkles up here. We're getting into a huge dramatic take. And this is part of the fun of animation. The art of exaggeration. The ears would stretch. I might even have the hair sticking out a little bit from the sides. I mean, already it's got a nice feel to it, and just really pushing the stretch. I would stretch the fingers, everything a lot. This is a very, very different type of take. Stretch each of the arms. Reposition these fingers just a little bit so they stretch also. Everything is really opening up a lot more than before. And what I may do, this is very reminiscent of the old classic cartoons that I grew up with here in the United States, where we see a character doing a take and we will see multiple images for a moment, that the take is so wild and zany that his head position actually multiplies times 3. So what I'm going to do is duplicate that expression partially. Sometimes in the industry we refer to these images as ghost images. They're partial images that give a graphic accent to the actual animation, making it more fun especially when you're doing something wild and zany. And zany being just another word for goofy, funny, anything that provides comedy to the animation. Have his tongue out there. So I'm just roughing in these shapes. The hair sticking out for a moment. So it gives an impression of his face being pulled on either side as he stretches, as he does his take. So he goes from that, and then back to his recovery pose. Now, I may change the recovery pose. Coming out of that, I may want to do something a little more dramatic where he's in shock by something he sees. So this is kind of a shock pose with these ghost images. So let me see if I can push this a little bit more. This will be our new drawing number 39, and this will be our new drawing 27. So I'm going to do an expression, not one of happiness, but one of something in where he's in shock by what he is seeing. Eyebrows up, stretching the cheeks just a little bit. Finish off the hair. And I may even keep the shoulders up as he recovers from his pose. So I maintain an attitude of shock by what he is seeing. The shoulders will be up here. So we're going to go from that to that. So here's our new extreme take. We're going to go from him looking to the anticipation to the big stretch with the multiple faces, the ghost images of his faces, and then settling into a surprise look. I want to show you some poses that I sort of sketched out showing exaggeration. And if you have for instance, taking the character Ben, say we have a sad pose. I think what you want to do to exaggerate that is to make it sadder. So there would be more of, instead of him being standing upright, maybe he is bowed over a little bit more with a sadder expression. Here's one where he's happy. So to exaggerate it, I would make him more happy. Throw the head back a little bit, arch his back, chest out, arms down, and a bigger smile. So we go from happy to make him more happy. That's an exaggerated pose. If he were angry with his arms folded, we would want to make him more angry. Maybe teeth gritting, eyebrows really, really far down and furrowed, and arms hanging with a clenched fist, making it more exaggerated. And in a goofy pose, rather than just have his eyes crossed and him smiling, make him a little more zanier with his tongue hanging out, his eyes going every which way, his foot up in the air, and he's got his arms over his head, making it more goofy, more exaggerated. So that's another idea about exaggeration. Now, next, I'd like to talk to you about appeal. What is appeal? What is that quality that makes a character design worth looking at? It could be something that's very cute. It could be something that's extremely unique and different from anything else. I think it has a lot to do with how it attracts the viewer. How do we make that design attractive to our audience that we're entertaining? And it could be something like if the character is a strong superhero, there's something unique in the design that makes it more attractive than anything else that we've seen. If the character is a villain, he's unique, he draws our attention. So I guess that it would be the definition of appeal. So let me do a demo of some ideas as far as designs and maybe even actions that can be more appealing. So in talking about appeal, let me draw 3 basic head shapes. 3 almost egg-like shapes. And show you what we can do to maybe make them more appealing and unique in their design. Now, it's interesting. I will put a median line through both, and where we normally put the eye line is right about in the middle. We will build our head, our human head, on top of that with a normal nose, eyebrows, hair, cheek and chin, pupils, and then ears and neck. So that's kind of the normal, generic head. But what if you lowered the eye line way down here and kept the cranium very large? And you put eyes down here, slightly slanted, with a smaller nose, a wider mouth, larger pupils. You have a totally different look. And that may be very appealing for a lot of people. You have either an elf character or kind of a space alien. By just lowering that eye line, you change the configuration and the character of that design. If you took the eye line and you placed it higher up, the eye line would be up here with a longer face. That could be a different kind of appeal, where you have the eyes up here, eyebrows, hairline, long nose, totally different design, whole different idea for appeal. Cheekbones, mouth, mustache, hair falling to the sides, ears, totally different look, and a beard. So just by taking that eye line and lifting it up high on the head shape, you have a totally different idea for appeal and character design. You know, in animating and designing women characters, sometimes I will start out with just kind of the generic shape. A basic head shape, nose, mouth. And as I explained about exaggeration, you know, this is a good starting place for me to start making a very unique design. So I've got a very simple head shape, a very simple hair shape for this character. And she's pretty. But how do I go from that to make something that's more unique? I think I'll start out with trying to push different characteristics of the face to make her not just pretty, but more appealing. Maybe I'll make the eyes slightly on a slant. A cuter little turned up nose. A maybe fuller lips. I'll do her teeth showing just a little bit. Give her longer lashes that kind of accentuate accentuate her eyes, maybe thicker brows, a little more expressive. And I would frame her face with a hair design that really complements her head shape. Making it more full. Give her a slender neck, nice shoulders. Having the hair drape over part of her shoulder and then fall in the back. So these are little things that might help make a generic face look a little more appealing. Now, if I were to take the head that I just did for a full figure, I sketched some ideas out. Here we have kind of the generic female form in a generic dress, hairdo, and a pretty face. But I want to push it so that she has a little bit more waistline, fuller hair, a fuller skirt. And for me, that would be a little bit more appealing. And the same would go for if I were to do a cute character. You know, what are some of the characteristics that make for a cute character? Well, a large head, big eyes, a cute little teardrop shape, very fleshy little legs and arms, and a cute little hairdo. I did a little puppy design here. It almost follows the same recipe where you have a large head, large eyes, cute little nose and muzzle, and a little mouth, and nice big, good size, round paws and legs. Now, in doing a hero character, I have a generic male character here, hands on his hips, you know, with a superhero type costume, large collar, generic hair. But I'd like to push this and make it more appealing. So I would add more muscle, maybe the collar, the height of the collar, maybe a mask, do something that's a little more accentuated with the hairdo, and give him a cape. So these are all things that you can adjust the body shape, the costume to make him look more superhero and to make him more attractive and appealing and unique as a superhero design. Now, if I were to do, say, a old, ugly character, I think, you know, how is that appealing? Well, it's appealing by way of making it unique. Say I have a head shape, a long head shape, and I have this crop of hair that comes off the back of his head, and his hair and hairline frames this head, and we'll have a high eye line like we talked about earlier, and the nose will hang. Now, I'm really accentuating all of these design aspects to make him look really ugly. But at the same time, he looks unique. I'll give him a wart right there at the wrinkle of his cheek. Hang the cheeks a little bit. And give him a low mouth way down here with some wrinkles. And make the lip hang out. And we see a chin right there with some hair. He's got like a little Van Dyke beard right there. And I make the eyes close together with great big bushy eyebrows. And big bags. So right off the bat, we're trying to create something that is unique. And the appeal is that this is an exaggeration of an old person, an old character. Now we can push the head shape even more if we wanted to. We can exaggerate the head shape. We can exaggerate the nose even more and create something, if we wanted to give him more age, we would make the eyebrows a little thicker. More wrinkles. There's his lip. And we could give him a beard. Maybe show the ears a lot more. And maybe he has a bald head with a couple of stubbles showing out. That would push the age on this character, making him even older and unique. So that should give you some ideas about exaggeration and appeal. Now for your assignment, I would like you to draw a face. I want you to design a face that you think is appealing. And I'd like you to show it to someone and see if they are attracted to it. That's your assignment. I look forward to teaching you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.